Okay. Uh, let's cut right to it. We like to start with the worst of the year. We're gonna do our worst five. Worst five. And
Yeah.
you want to start, Rod? Should we list these two, or do you want to back and forth these?
Um. Yeah, I don't know. What do you feel like? We could back and forth.
I'm
So
gonna.
here's the way that we say worst five. Uh, let's if someone wants to be more doesn't want trigger warnings or wants to be handle things delicately with kitty
Yeah.
gloves, you could say least liked or least
Yeah.
enjoyed,
Yes.
or and also asterisk in our opinion. This is a
Yes.
subjective critique of the artworks that we viewed
Yes.
this year.
I felt like these movies sucked my balls.
Did you were you on the internet
Trigger
when
warning.
were you were you on the internet when the whole Yoda ate my balls thing was going on?
No.
No, you ever never watched those like dumb cartoons that were uploaded? This was like dial-up days. I remember people would go to
No.
the library and pull up dumb cartoons. It was like Yoda ate my balls and like Chewbacca ate my balls and like other characters ate my balls and it was just some dumb
No.
cartoon. I digress.
Well,
Okay, so
I'm gonna start.
you
I'm gonna
start.
start. I'm gonna
All
start
this ball talk
with
making me thirsty.
with we're all going to the World's Fair. Ate my balls.
Yeah, so I second that emotion. Definitely one of the worst. In all fairness, I want to celebrate and raise up independent film. However, um, you still have to make a good film, and just because you're independent doesn't mean that you're dealt with in any different kind of way. You took the effort to make a compelling film. You attempted to, and this didn't achieve that. And so, along those same lines, with We're All Going to the World's Fair, I've got a couple others that are probably in the same thing. The other one for me, Take Back the Night, similar vein.
Sure,
Uh,
sure.
one that we watched
Yep.
had
I'm
a hilarious ending that
yeah.
just reinforces how bad it is.
So some great one-liners. That movie.
Yeah.
It's like
No means no,
no means no
motherfucker.
motherfucker. It's like an Arnold level
Uh,
one-liner. I
yeah,
loved it.
and
I loved it.
there's a woman, spoiler alert, woman that is physically breaking through a glass ceiling to get to the rooftop where she'll try to survive and become empowered.
Yeah.
It's just really heavy-handed and silly.
Yeah. Worst five, and this is in no particular order, because I felt like rating them in order would have been even worse than saying that
Sure.
these are the worst
Oh yeah,
movies.
yeah,
Right, right, right.
yeah,
The Hellraiser remake.
yeah. Remake, reboot. It was not good.
It was not good. And what's crazy is we heard about this David Gordon Green Hellraiser project, and I just assumed that this was it, and it went straight to Hulu. And then I was like, "This is terrible." Looked it up. It's not the David Gordon Green project. That project, which has nothing to do with this reboot, and is actually written and based in the original Hellraiser mythos, is coming to HBO Max, and it's on its way. And that is something
That's
we
like
should
a series,
and
right?
I think it's a series, yeah. So that's something we should all
Yeah.
be excited for. And shame on Hulu for putting out that garbage.
Okay, so I've got. I'm gonna rapid fire three more that are more indie themed that aren't big budget type films because I've got a handful of big budget I wanted to hit in my worst five. This is my worst 10 technically. Five indie, five large ones.
Sure.
So Choose or Die, brought to us by Netflix. They slash Them, starring Kevin Bacon, and Goodnight Mommy, a reboot of the original Austrian film from only a decade ago that was fantastic. This one with Naomi Watts, who's notorious for ruining films. Uh, those were all awful films. So Choose or Die, just really dumb. Uses Robert Englund's name as like a grabber. Fucking Asa Butterfield from Ender's Game. Uh, Not great. He's been in other shit, but it was just a dumb movie. It had a cool visual thing going on, but it was not enough to. It was a dumb story. They slash Them was just like I thought it could be cool. Maybe they're playing with this whole gender non-binary interesting stuff and they'll do it in a creative way, but like you're kind of also concerned because it's like this is very this is a landmine of an issue and it's like it's tiptoes around it but also does certain things head on and doesn't do any of it very well. And then Goodnight Mommy is just a really bad remake. The original is so far superior, and this one just didn't know what it was trying to do with the source material. It seemed it looked kind of okay, but it just was dumb.
Okay. Pearl. Pearl.
Hell yes.
Come on. X was so good. And then they
In comparison to it, yeah,
put
I
out
feel like
Pearl.
it. Yeah.
Come on. All right. Um, the Texas reboot.
See, I understand that, but I'm not going to include it because I think at the end of the day, it's still fun. It's dumb as shit.
Yeah.
It's not a good movie,
All
but
right.
it is still entertaining to watch Leatherface tear things up.
Yeah. I'll agree that it was fun to watch, but I mean it was definitely when I went through in my it was definitely one of the worst movies of the year in my opinion, of course.
Yeah.
And finally the on the bottom of my worst five, the Firestarter remake, which was not fun to watch, and
No,
and
that was not as fun.
and had no redeeming value at all.
Correct.
Yeah.
The only other two large budget ones I'm going to put in my worst for the year, easily Orphan First Kill. Very, very bad. Not good. Not a good twist. We came up with a handful of ways to make that film way more
Way better,
interesting
yeah.
about what you could have done with the character because as much as I hated the first one, I thought it could have still been an opportunity to make something interesting with the character if she was going to be attached to it. They had some creativity with how they handled the whole aging thing. That was fun. However, it was not a good film, and I would be remiss if I didn't include Halloween Ends as one of the worst 5 movies from this year. Uh, yeah, I cannot ever consider it to be to have any redeeming qualities. I don't think that it fulfills what David Gordon Green was trying to attempt to do with the trilogy. I don't think that it's a good conclusion to the arc in that trilogy. I think it's not even on a standalone film of it being about evil and changing shape. It's even then it's not very good at that. If I don't bring any nostalgia to it, it's still not good. It's just not good and presented in a way that's compelling at all. It's just a bad movie. Uh, so for me, that has to be included in the list.
So I didn't put that on my list because did you do a biggest disappointment?
That's my runner-up for biggest disappointment.
Okay, my all right. So we're gonna move on to the awards section of the event tonight.